Hey everyone, it's AJ Brown again. Welcome. I got a lot of feedback about our session on what is an option. And the number one question asked was, why? Why should we do any sort of transacting with these derivative things called options? They seem so complicated. So we're going to go over that today, just in a brief session. But before I do that, let me ask you to do a couple of things. First of all, I know you're probably paying attention to us either on our podcast or in a YouTube video off of our YouTube channel, or maybe you have found this on a Facebook post in our Facebook channel that you are following, or maybe even on Instagram. Wherever you are, could you please take a moment and like this video and subscribe. Subscribe to the podcast. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Go ahead and follow us on Facebook and on Instagram. And please click the notifications button. And if you have any sort of questions, of course, put them into comments. I read all my comments. This will make sure that our content gets in front of the most eyes. You'd be doing me a big favor. And at the same time, I want to do you a big favor and give you a lot of content. So let's explain why options. Now, let's think about anything that you have ever bought or sold. We typically like to buy things when we know the price is going to go up. And we typically like to sell things when we know the price is going to go down. So if you're doing any sort of transacting with, say, for instance, stocks or commodities or foreign exchange currencies, those are pretty much the only two transactions you can do. You can buy to open something, hoping the price goes up so that when you sell to close it, you make a profit. Or you could sell to open and then buy it back, buy to close it, if you think the price is going to go down. That's called going long and going short, respectively. Those are the only two things you can do. Now, with options, we also make money if the price can stay sideways. We also make money just as time passes by. And with options, we can also make money when there is fear in investors as well as confidence. So it turns out with buying and selling stocks, ETFs, indexes, commodities, foreign exchange currencies, we've got two strategies we can use. And if the pattern doesn't support it, then we just have to wait on our rusty dusties and be patient, and maybe the timing will come. Hopefully it's not in the middle of the night that you can do one of those two transactions. Last time I checked with options, there's 27 different configurations of options to basically make money on any scenario that the market throws your way. In other words, you become the one in control. You just basically see what the market's throwing your way, and then you use the correct option strategy, and you populate it with the optimized options in that strategy. Go to town, and the timing becomes yours, the strategy becomes yours, and you use the correct tool for the situation. And you have 27 tools in your toolbox to choose from. That's why we use options. All these different mechanisms provide us profit. If we see two of the mechanisms, then we can optimize the perfect strategy to work for there. So with flexibility, yes, comes a little bit of complexity, but just like I once heard about the standard shift, the standard shift soon becomes automatic. I believe that was a commercial for Volkswagen back in the day when the only cars they offered had manual shift. And they said, tell your spouse that the standard shift soon becomes automatic. Well, the options, although they have complexity because there is 27 different variations, you just have to use them. And as you use them, you become familiar with them. And as you become familiar with them, they become second nature. So tell your friend, tell your spouse, tell your family member that options soon become automatic. With that said, we also have this cool effect with options, and they provide a source of leverage. In other words, we control a lot of underlying asset by not spending much on the option that does so. We get that right that we talked about in the previous session for just a small amount of premium. And if we want to make some income on it, we can take on that obligation and basically rent out for a certain amount of time that right and take on that obligation. So options provide a source of leverage, which can both be beneficial and be dangerous. Because remember, if something big goes against us, it's the same as something big going for us. And so us being a little person, we need to be able to understand what this leverage is all about. So that's why options, there's so many benefits. And in my mind, being so friendly with options, I believe that there's no other way. It's just a no-brainer. Control is what options are all about. With that said, I hope you learned something today. We'll keep on with these short sessions, short and sweet. And if you could do me a favor, if you like what was the session today, whether you were listening to it on a podcast, via a YouTube video, on a Facebook video, in an Instagram video, wherever you're consuming some of my material, take a moment and just give me a thumbs up. Click that like button. And do me a favor. Help me get my content in front of more eyes. Subscribe and click on the notifications. So when we produce content, you'll get notified, but at the same time, we'll tell these platforms that my content is valuable enough that they should put it in front of more eyes. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, please put them down below in the comments. Get them to me. I read them all. Thanks, everyone.